What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bleav in Hornets podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. My name is Sam. My co-host Muggsy Bogues is with me. Muggsy, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing all right. Little ups and downs with our Hornets thus far this season, which is, come to expected, I guess. You take the good with the bad. All things considered, things could be a lot worse with the Hornets.
Absolutely. Normally how we start the show, I've kind of always got to have my toast with you.
Yeah, I got you this time.
Yeah,
I'm here with you.
There we go. Yeah. The Hornets. I tell you, you're right. The ups and downs, but it's going to be a long season, and that's what they gotta, be aware of, and gotta try to not have as many downs and have more ups as the season progresses.
Yep, and we're gonna get into all the ups and downs in a second. But first, as Muggsy and I are recording this, today is the 1-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death, and it wouldn't be right if we didn't talk about Kobe on this podcast. Even though we're here to talk about the Hornets, we will. So if you're here for the Hornets, we'll get to it. But we got to talk about the late great Kobe Bryant, a guy that Muggsy knew, Muggsy played against. Muggsy, we're 1 year removed away from losing Kobe Bryant. Can you talk to everybody about your interactions with him? What was he like? What was he like to play against?
Well, as a player, he was definitely, something to be reckoned with. Here it is in 1996 as a player, the Hornets, we drafted him. We drafted Kobe, thought that he was going to want to be part of the Hornets. But at the time, where he saw his career, where he saw he wanted to be, he was more or less in a bigger city. LA was that city. His daddy, Jelly Bean Bryant, played for the Lakers. So that's something that they always dreamt about doing. And he got that opportunity, and look what type of career he had. But he was such a great human being. Kobe, very relentless on the court by all means. He took no prisoners, but just off the court, I didn't know him that well in that regards where I know a lot of his personal life, but he always been respectful, always gracious to me every time we come in contact with one another. I remember we bumped into each other in the All-Star game in Toronto, and we just kind of chatting it up and how graciously we was able to see one another. And I always want to tell him, man, why you ain't want to come play with me at the Hornets? We could have had a nice little run there for a second, but of course, he had bigger things in mind, and winning four championships, 4 titles, on his fingers, that says enough of what type of career he had. But more importantly, he was just a special man off the court, all the generous things he done, and you'd be remiss not mention his daughter, G. That was a special person to him, a young lady. She was interested in the game of basketball, and, trying to follow her daddy's footsteps, and for them to, be together. And at their last final moment, I'm quite sure that, he was being a father, being hungry. And that's what we do, as fathers. So it's a sad day, but it's a celebration day. And I'm always going to celebrate his life and things what he meant, not only to the NBA, but to a guy like myself, because I always admire the way he conducted himself on and off the court. Always been professional, and I always remember in that way.
When did you know he'd be something special? Like, we see a lot of guys come into the league with attention, with a name, but very few can meet those expectations and exceed those expectations. From your experience, when did you notice that or think that, oh man, this Kobe guy's for real?
Well, he had that label, as you said, coming into it, and he mentored Michael Jordan so much. He studied him, not only just the way he played, but the way he talked and the way he remembered himself as, the way he walked and so forth. And but you could just see, a young kid with this type of talent that's coming in that want to be one of the best players in the league, and you start to see the skill set. Like, whoa, even though he was West Coast, we was East Coast, so you didn't get to see much of it. But, of course, when every time you get the opportunity to watch him, you can see the potential that was there early on. And then as years went on, you can see very early in this next 2-3 years, you've seen that he's going to be that star. And not on that, seeing Michael making that phase out of the league, and knowing that he had that understanding, I want to be better than Michael Jordan, and having that mindset. And then being, again, NBA was blessed to have it because they need the face of the league, and that was doing other stars was kind of moving aside, like the Michael Jordan, the Karl Malones and so forth, but more so the guy, Michael Jordan. So Kobe, he always wanted to be the face of the league, and he had that opportunity, and he ran with it very hardly.
Yeah, and he seemed to be on an insane pace, like post basketball, like what he could accomplish after his retirement, what he was getting involved with from just the game, at like being bought into women's basketball, and also on the like art and film side. He has an Oscar. Like,
yeah,
if any, like Kobe was destined to do a lot. So, like the world definitely is missing Kobe. There's no like easy transition here to Hornets basketball. So we're just gonna lean into it. We're just gonna steer right into it. Kobe, rest in peace. A lot like it was a horrific day, and hopefully we don't have anything like that ever again. But
absolutely.
Switching gears, as awkwardly as possible, to Hornets basketball. Hornets stand at 7-10, 10th place in the East. To be fair, though, at this point, they'd be eligible for the play-in game, so that's a plus. They had the first game back after their Wednesday game against the Wizards got postponed against the Bulls. And in that game, we saw the return of Cody Zeller. Muggsy, with his like in that game and then in the games against the Magic, what do you think about Cody being back in the fold? What do you expect from him? What do you think his impact will be in the rotation going forward?
It was a bright for sight. I'm quite sure Coach JB and the coaching staff and all the other players were so thrilled to have Cody, back on the floor because he brings those intangibles, that no one has loved doing, and it doesn't show up in the stat sheet. I mean, he's the guy that on the board diving for those loose balls, a little setting screens, rolling to the basket, tip ins. Every now and then he'll get a chip in, when he score. That's a bonus for him. But what his energy that he brings, he's also able to protect the rim to some degree, when he's there, and he kind of also give Biz a little relief, and so you get two different types of looks in terms of Biyombo, Bismack, as well as Cody. Because then when you got them in there together, those guys are they energetic, not looking to score as much, but they're always in the right place, making the right pass at the right time. So I think it's very helpful to have them back, and they're going to need them going forward.
Yeah, I say it all the time in my live streams and videos that I've been pretty happy with Bismack Biyombo this year. Like, I look at his numbers after every quarter at halftime, and my eyes go to rebounds. I want rebounds and block shots from him. Anything else is a plus. And I think, he puts himself in the right position. He may not always have the best handle on the ball, but if he's given us especially offensive rebounds, I think he's made the most of this opportunity. I think Borrego has said that when Cody's healthy again, he'll be the starter again, which will be good for Biz, his long-term sustainability as well.
Yes.
Giving him a break. And that seeing that smaller lineup wasn't necessarily a matter of need. It was more of a choice for Borrego, depending on the matchup he wanted to roll out there. And so Hornets have options now with Zeller, Biz, or they can go small with PJ and Miles out there. So that's assuring. But Cody definitely looked a little rusty. His hand, like he was out with a hand injury, right?
Yeah, when you're out that long, I mean, it takes time to get in game condition, game shape. I mean, you can't simulate that in practice. And I'm quite sure they didn't have many of them, but I mean, it's going to take some time for him to get his legs underneath of him. But, Cody brings another element where he can stretch the floor, when he's out there. So it brings that other defender out and leaves the middle wide open where the penetration, Terry Rozier, as well as Hayward, can get to the basket at will. And that's what pretty much been happening the last couple of games. And hopefully, we can get back on that winning streak. But it's something to be excited to have Cody back in the lineup.
Yeah, his first game against the Bulls back, he played just under 11 minutes. The second game back, he played around just under 15 minutes and 18 minutes in the last game against the Magic. So just slowly kind of bringing him on, getting his legs, getting his lungs, and hopefully we'll get a better picture of what we have, because I know a lot of Hornets fans are interested in trades. They want improvements in certain areas. It's hard for me, like I respect it, I understand it, but we don't even know what this team is yet, like who we have yet.
It's too early.
And we haven't really seen Vernon or Nick Richards get involved as well. The rookies, they'll take a little longer to get ready. We're not privy to what goes on in practices and trainings, but
that's what's sad about the G League not being able to be starting up right now, because those guys could be getting some valuable minutes in terms of what the NBA lifestyle, what the NBA play is all about. Even though they get it in practice, but they constantly to be able to plan, and it just always give you a better feel and enhance you, and it keeps you engaged when your number is called.
Yep, definitely. I feel bad because I look over and just watch these games, and Vernon Carey is just so big. Like, he's a big human being just sitting on the bench with the mask on, just watching. I'm like, man, come on, we need you. Come out here. I was sick of Chris Boucher just bodying us. We need your help.
Yeah. That's length right there. It's length.
He's nice. He may be most improved. Like him and Christian Wood may be most improved candidates, or the front runners at least.
Yeah. Jared Allen, don't leave out.
Oh, yeah. So along with the return of Cody Zeller, we've seen Gordon Hayward really kind of take the reins as the man on the team, for lack of a better word. Back-to-back 30-point games, game-winning layup against the Magic. Muggsy, how are you feeling about Gordon Hayward? We're less than 25% into the season. I'm blown away by it. I'm loving everything I'm seeing from Gordon. How are you feeling about our new big free agent signing?
Well, I'm not shocked. This is what Gordon Hayward is all about. Even when he was in Utah, this was the type of player he was. He felt comfortable. He was healthy. He was very anxious in terms of, proving that he belongs into the league and showing that he could be an all-star. And that's what he now have an opportunity to be on this type of team. He's gotten the ball. He got a lot of free range, and he got a lot of players that complimentary of him on the team. And he's allowed to play his natural game. Three behind the arc, mid-range, get to the basket. The ball is moving. So this is a perfect situation for him. And he's showcasing what he's capable of doing on every given night when he's healthy. As long as he stay healthy, this is what you're going to see through Gordon Hayward. And that's a great sight for the Hornets to have. And the other guys, will continue to play, good basketball. Now we need to put some wins together. And I think it's going to come. It's just a matter of everybody just continuing on the defensive end, getting some key stops when we need to, and then go down and put the ball in the basket.
Most definitely. We've seen some streaky performances from the rest of the players, from Terry, from Devontae, from PJ. With those guys kind of settling in and finding some rhythm, would hopefully take the load off Gordon, because you mentioned his injury, like past. We need him. We needs to be able to take a night off here and there. We need other guys to step up. Who I think our squad, we have. Taylor, Terry, Devontae, PJ, Bridges, LaMelo, guys that can step up. It's just we don't always know if we'll see it for 4 quarters. We've seen some streaky shooting performances from Terry and Devontae, especially these last few games. They would come on later or have a really hot quarter, which is nice to see. But hopefully we can smooth out the edges, so to speak, and we won't have to come back from too many more games.
No, that's why stars become stars. They, what you get from them each and every night. They're going to get their 25 or 28 or whatever that number is for them. And that's what Hayward displaying. He's trying to be that guy for this team, and bringing that type of energy as well as scoring ability. And I think it's going to rub off to the other guys. The consistency was they're going to continue to need. And they still young. PJ's in the second year. Miles is in his third year.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got, and here you got Malik Monk haven't even, got much playing time. He's sitting over there with, so you got some firepower. And then the young fella in Melo, going to have his ups and downs because he's a rookie. But more ups, hopefully, than downs. But, his confidence is sky high. I cannot foresee him even losing any type of confidence. So, and I believe in the type of abilities he has. But I think it's going to continue. These guys will step their game up continuously in terms of knowing what the roles are and what they got to continue to do. Because Gordon Hayward right now, he's playing some all-star basketball, in these last 3 games, and it's actually pretty much all season when he's out there. So I think it's going to kind of rub off to the other guys.
Yeah, I think there's some talk about having an actual all-star game now, which I hope Gordon can be a part of, because it'll be great to have that representation in that game. And it'll be a nice little middle finger to everyone who said we overpaid for him too. They'll be like, hey, how you feel about it now,
Well, yeah, they say, you overpaid until somebody, willing to give you that salary. So for them, the Hornets feel like, hey, they got what is worth. We'll see. It's still early, but thus far, he's been every bit of, the value of what they gave him, what he's deserving. So I have no problems with Hayward's ability and what he's been bringing to the table thus far.
Yeah, and he seems really happy. I didn't watch a lot of Celtics basketball when he was there.
Mm-hmm.
Celtics fans were saying he wasn't the first option there.
No.
And he is here, and you can tell by his body language that he's enjoying his role with this franchise. So that's always nice to see, despite the record. Looking for silver linings, I guess. He's playing well and he's enjoying his time here.
120 million don't hurt.
No, I'd be pretty happy with that as well.
Yeah.
So going forward, it's getting tough. There are no easy games per se, but these are hard games. Definitely. 2 games against the Pacers. We got the Bucks, the Heat, the Sixers. That's just in the next 5 or 6 games. So in those upcoming games, is there anything you're looking forward to? Anything you want to see? I know a lot of Hornets fans are eager to see LaMelo start. Do you think it's time to pull the trigger on that, to switch up the starting 5? I think at some point Cody will enter the 5. Cody Zeller. It sucks having 2 Codys on the same team now, because it's now that Cody Zeller, I gotta always say Cody Zeller, just not confuse him with Cody Martin. I think we'll see that change in the 5 eventually. But do you think it's time, either now, the next game, or some point in the near future, to make a change with any of the guards or forwards?
I think I was watching the game. I think I overheard Coach JB. I think they asked him that question in terms of about the lineups, and it wasn't nobody in specific. And he was, kind of considering some things, and he understands that he has changed his lineup multiple times, mainly because of injuries. And also they want to bring some excitement into the game. But I think he is open to possibly, changing it up again. And Melo could be that one of the guys get that call, as well as Miles. Who knows? But it's a long season. And I'm quite sure the coaching staff has their pulse on where the team's at and what they need and when they need to pull that trigger. Because you don't want to destroy the confidence that they have. Because right now they're feeling good about themselves, and we out there, and when anybody know anything about the NBA, it's a day-to-day type of situation. If you're not having success and you're not feeling good about it, it can kind of build up. And you don't want that to happen, especially to a young player.
Yep. I tell people that, Melo's 19 years old. He's going to be under team control for a while. So hopefully, he'll be part of the Hornets franchise for a while. So there's time. Time's on our side, right? Yeah. And it's important not to burn him out. But it's hard when you see him come onto the court, and it's oh man, this feels different. I like this. Yeah. And personally, I want to see him take fewer threes and drive to the lane more, because him and his silky layup game is really fun to watch. and that will help with the shooting percentage. I think will help with his confidence as well.
But not only that, it puts so much pressure on the defense.
Yeah,
because it gives them because he's got so much vision where he's able to find his guys, and him driving to the basket, looking to score though, as opposed to looking to pass. I think it would do a lot for him as well as for the team because it puts so much pressure on the defense and on the defender because they don't know either he's gonna score it or then when they try to do that, he can find the shooters, and we got some good ones out there which can fire away. So. I love when he's had that type of aggression when he's attacking the basket, as opposed to just standing around shooting the 3-ball. Opportunities come, you got to let it go. But more importantly, you put so much pressure on the defendants, and when you penetrate, when he penetrates, because he had that ability not only to score but find his teammates as well.
Yeah, the when Devontae, Terry, and LaMelo are on the court at the same time. And Devontae is bringing the ball up and LaMelo just stands on the corner. I'm like, oh, this is such a waste. Like, I need him handling the ball. And I much would rather have Devontae standing on the court or waiting for the pass. So I hope to see less of that going forward. And then a little more better perimeter defense from everybody involved. Because it's been a 3-point shootout every time. If we play a team that can shoot it, they're shooting it. And they're shooting it well.
But the thing about it has been uncontested, though.
Yeah.
If it's contested, that's one thing because now the rotation is there. You just that, hey, he made the shot. It's one another thing where the contest is not there and you can get lost and all of a sudden they just jacking up threes and, we have no whereabouts where they are. That's when the concern comes in.
Yep. So obviously Hornets have a lot to work on. They'll be tested by a very good Pacers team. The reigning MVP in Giannis. They're defending Eastern Conference champions, the Heat. And one of the favorites, the Sixers, next few games. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully things go well. Knocking on wood.
A good test I'm quite sure they're looking forward to. I mean, hey, we got some quality wins already on our belt. Brooklyn Nets, Dallas Mavericks. So, hey, I'm not concerned in that way. I just hope the guys coming back with the right mind frame and the right attitude. What happened in Orlando is over. It's over and done with. Now we got to move on to Indiana. We got 2 home games that we can possibly get. And we need to just focus in one game at a time. And hopefully we can get a win coming up this next game tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I feel like we had that long layoff as a fan, but that long layoff with the postponed game. And then game on
the Wizards. What's the Wizards? are they going to be able to get enough games in?
Yeah, they had another game postponed.
Not to cut you off.
They had they were supposed to play the Pelicans, right, the other night, and that got postponed.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't. So I mentioned we're approaching the 25% mark for the season, the quarter mark, and I'm really curious if the NBA can finish these games out, and if we don't end up in a bubble at some point. I know they don't want to do that. I know the arena owners don't want to do that, but the Hornets have been pretty lucky on that front.
Yeah, they have. But they followed the protocol pretty good.
I want to give the NBA credit where they come up with an idea. If it doesn't work, they're usually pretty quick to fix it. I remember when they changed the basketball and all the players were complaining about it. Oh, yeah. And they're like, all right, yeah, you guys are
burning your fingers, that different texture they had.
Yeah. So I want to give the NBA the benefit of the doubt with adjusting on the fly if things aren't working. So hopefully everything works out.
Baseball.
Yep, baseball. They ran into it. My St. Louis Cardinals got hit hard with COVID when they had their season. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I know the NBA players aren't first in line for vaccines. And so you gotta have to really tighten in the protocols and that to keep them safe and keep the fans safe. And I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't know if plan A is going to work for the NBA this year. And we won't end up in another bubble. Maybe 3 bubbles across the country or something I don't know. They can figure it out. There's plenty of cities that can handle the infrastructure. But hopefully we're at least for the Hornets side, we're done with the postponed games.
Yeah.
And everyone is healthy, obviously.
Right. Well, we're in January now, so we have several more months to go. I think the championship over sometime in July when the finals would probably end. So, we got a little time.
And also, just in a weird, this wasn't meant to be a medical corner of the podcast, but salute to Karis LeVert. He had successful cancer surgery. That trade saved his life potentially.
Absolutely.
He got traded to the Cavs. He went through a medical. They found something on his kidney, I Bleav.
Yeah,
and everything worked out well. He's going to expected to make a full recovery. So, that's great news.
Absolutely. I mean, to find out that you got traded is devastating enough, and then here it is, you're going through your physical, and then to be diagnosed, with that, it's just another mind-boggling to deal with. But thankful that God was on his side, and then he was able to make it through successfully because he's a heck of a player. I mean, so much talent, so much potential there, and Indiana are going to be gracious to have a player of his magnitude. So I'm just happy for him and his family. Yep.
I think I said Cleveland. You're right, Indiana. I got that and Jared Allen stuck in my head. But I think that's everything on the list for tonight for this week's episode. Muggsy, is there anything else you'd like to get into before we say goodbye to the people?
Well, gosh, I mean, what's out there in today's society today that's kind of getting a lot of attention? Gosh, my day has been just going by without even really and not much substance in it today. Just kind of sitting around. But I'm just thankful that we was able to have the show today and be able to talk about the celebrating of Kobe, and the things that he was able to accomplish in his life. The success recovery of Karis LeVert. So I'm just happy to be here with you, my brother. So it's another great episode.
Yeah, I'll toast you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, for sure.
All right, thanks everyone for checking out the latest episode of the Bleav in Hornets podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. We'll talk to you soon.